Thank you for the space,
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, that we need to respect the fact that some people do need that in order to recuperate and to get the energies back. And right now we have many of them. We have many people that they would feel much more comfortable to say that I have a headache or a back pain
Yeah, of course.
instead.
Of course.
And this is usually what they're saying, I guess.
It is.
Um,
It is. But
eh,
that's also a reflection of the culture, the relationship. So there's a lot of things companies can be doing to cultivate a culture of compassion so that it's not, I got to lie, I have a stomach ache. And in reality, my anxiety is taking over today.
do you think that they are more aware of that aspect right now? The leaders, the companies, they know more about that?
I think so. I think the conversation has been elevated since COVID. I mean, just looking at the data and how many people are struggling. I mean, I think you I think companies who aren't looking at it are in trouble, but I think a lot of companies know they have a workforce that has been affected by a global pandemic, and they have people. And if they have people, they're people. You have a percentage of your people that are struggling.
Yeah. So, what would you say to these people who are suffering from mental illness, or what would you tell their manager, and would they address that?
Yeah, I think the first thing is like I always tell people, let's start to relate to mental health as a continuum, right? We have it. There's a continuum. When we get into labels, mentally ill, mentally well, it sort of creates an exacerbated reaction. So at any given point, we're gliding across a continuum. Some days we're going to be up, some days we're going to be, at the other end of the continuum. Life events are going to come at us. Um, and I think we need to be okay with not being okay fundamentally, right? And acknowledging that you're not okay is the first step in getting support and returning yourself to joy. I think at any point, if you look in the mirror and you don't have the joy that you know you can have, you really got to stop and look and say, what is it that I need to do differently? Because if I keep doing the same thing, I'm not going to get a different result. So for the employee, I say, be brutally honest with yourself. Like I do this thing in my workshop where I ask people to get present every morning to how they're doing. And if they're below the line, they need to take a different action that day and lean into something they know that's going to elevate their mood and elevate their feeling. And if it's consistent over a period of time, you need to have the courage to reach out and get a clinical appointment, get an appointment with a therapist. I mean, do not allow it to prolong. If your sleep is compromised, if your eating habits are compromised, those are all things that, you're doing yourself a disservice by thinking you can just power through. So first and foremost, though, I always ask people, get present to how you're feeling. And if you know that getting in a run at lunchtime is going to help you, or picking up the phone and connecting with a friend or a family member and getting it off your chest is going to help you, do that. But oftentimes we rush into our day and we don't even check in with ourselves. So first and foremost, check in with yourself. As for employers, again, it's just the observation of behaviors changing over time. You should know what's expected behavior from your staff, and if it deviates from that, you should also know, okay, well, maybe I need to check in and say, hey, is everything okay, and offer support and offer ears. A lot of times our leaders are not comfortable engaging because they're so afraid they're going to say the wrong thing. Here in the US, we live in a very litigious world. People, oh, I'm going to say the wrong thing, I'm going to be sued, or, I'm not a clinician, I don't know how to fix it. You don't have to know how to fix it. I always say, show up with 2 ears and just listen and just be there and be present and connect them to the resources that your company's probably already providing and they just don't know about. So
Yeah, I agree that listening in general is underestimated.
absolutely.
And it's not only in that context. I think that leaders think that sometimes they're expected to provide solutions all the time and
I
to
know.
say what they think all the time. And sometimes all they need to do is really listen, and listen well.
Hmm.
And for sure, in that case, when people are trying to, you said something about connecting to your humaneness, right? Being
Yes.
human, right?
Yes.
So it's only human for you. You're a human and they're a human, and you're just listening to what they're going through. That's it. It's not like you don't need to have any solution right now.
Right.
And if you are not sure what is the right thing to say, you could say, okay, I really listen. I'll think about it.
Yes.
I promise you that I will think about what you're saying. You don't have to be like at that moment have the magic in order to solve it,
Right.
but just be there.
Right.
Um,
But you're
which
right.
is so
As leaders, we want to fix it. As leaders, we want to give you a prescription, go and do this, this, and this, and you'll be fine. Or even worse, when I had that, I did. Oh, do not do
yeah.
that. Like, do not assert.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Just truly listen. That could be the greatest gift that you give someone who might be struggling.